So one more thing. So there always is one more thing, and a number of you have been asking, and a number of you have been, when we've advertised this through social media and through LinkedIn and whatnot, people have said, what about scripting? Well, scripting is something we've not really talked about too much today already, but scripting provides customized automation for a lot of workflows. So we're going to look at a couple of very, very simple scripts directly within this data set, and then Klaus has got a video afterwards, which we've done with some data with the BLK to go. But effectively, this is a JavaScript solution. We have some pre-installed scripts. There's also some scripts on GitHub. If you're aware of that, it's like a code sharing platform. But effectively, you import the data as you would. You process using a script, and then you can export the data, and you can also share your scripts, and you can customize any that we provide you as well. But to write a specific process, you can use all the existing functions from Cyclone 3DR within the JavaScript language. So what we're finding now, and Klaus has facilitated this, and we're facilitating in other parts of Europe, is people are coming to us saying, I have a need to do this using scripting. And whether that's working in partnership with the team who write Cyclone 3DR or putting you in partnership with JavaScript programmers, I think Klaus made the point that if you've got some knowledge around JavaScript in your offices, then use it. Yeah, exactly. You know, as a future skill for people who are sitting processing this data, to have some knowledge around JavaScript and implementing within the scripting. It really is highly customizable and completely achievable yourselves. There is some really good script writing help built directly into the solution, and there's a couple of pre-installed scripts that we're going to look at now. So we've got curb extraction and electric line extraction, and as I said, there's more scripts available at GitHub. So I think the last one that I saw on GitHub was like a clash detection one. So that has been uploaded by someone. So someone has come up with a clash detection tool, and that's been uploaded to GitHub. So by all means, check out GitHub, and if you've got Cyclone 3DR, you can download those and you can drag and drop them into the interface, so they're always permanently loaded to your solution. So let's just jump into our scripting. Here we go. So what you can see here, we've got a mobile mapping data set. So it's just quite a small data set really in terms of in the grand scheme of things. But if you zoom down to ground level, you can see we've got some nice curb lines, we've got some road lines, we've got some buildings and structures. I think this is probably from the Pegasus 2 by the look of the cleanliness of the data. But one thing that we have got, actually, there's a building somewhere down here, I think, at this end of the data set. So this, like I said, some of the tools from Cyclone Survey and Cyclone 2 Topo have come across here. So one thing we can do, what I'm going to do, I think, let's just, if we extract, let's flick our point cloud. Oops, excuse me, let's cancel that out. Oh, that was it. I wanted to show you the ability to use the ground point selection when drawing and digitizing a polyline. So I've actually selected the polyline tool in this example, but what you can see now is as I'm moving along the building, can you see the blue line moving across the bottom? So even if I pick at the top, what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to pick at the top, and as I pick along the top of this building, you can see, and I'm going to hit return, that polyline, I'm going to escape out of this function, but that polyline has been created down that bottom end. So they're just some of the tools in terms of extraction that allow you to be really quick within Cyclone 3DR. What I'm going to do now, actually, I'm just going to create a couple of lines over here on this curb line. I have shared something similar to this on LinkedIn recently. I think I did the overhead line extraction, but I'm just going to create a couple of lines on these curbs. So I'm just going to do a polyline, and I'm going to say point on selection, and I'm just going to draw a couple of lines here. So I'm not going to be particularly accurate about this, just to get the process running, and I'll just do the same for the bottom of the curb. Okay, and then what I'm going to do, you can see I could obviously manually, I could do this, I could draw and digitize, but now we're going to go to the scripting solution. I'm just going to exit out of that command. I'm going to go script, and I'm going to go curb extraction. So if you create more, you can actually add them directly to this part of the toolbar. I think Klaus has got 5 or 6 within his interface. But I'm going to go to the curb extraction, and then this will invoke the script. And you can see then we've got the curb extraction parameters. So this will depend entirely on the coding and who's made it as to what this looks like. But then you can put in here, the sampling step, the curb width, etc. Now I'm not going to change any of these. I'm going to say we're going to do maximum curb length, something like 20 meters, and I'm going to press OK. Now it'll say select 1 line or 2 lines to initiate the curb extraction. So I'm just going to make sure that and I'm going to say OK, and make sure we then select in here, shift select those 2 lines. Oh, control, so there you go, so they're both selected. And all I do now is just hit play, and that will start So I'm just going to say OK again, and that will now run the script. And what's brilliant about this is as I zoom out, you can see this is being run real time, but I can still navigate and move around and see how that script is growing. So all of those people who've manually had to extract curves out of mobile mapping data over the years, or even terrestrial laser scanning data, this is a fantastic solution. So what I've spoken to the programmers, and ideally, you know, it would be fantastic if we can then start putting in, you know, edge of path, top of curve, bottom of curve, you know, road center line, and do all of them at once, which is obviously going to take more processing power, but that then is now just working along the data set, and it will probably extend 20 meters along there based on the tools I've just put in. So that is that's the curve extraction function. So that's now finished. So once I'm finished and that they're now created, I don't need to accept or anything. I can just close that down. But what you can see in here, you can see an explanation of the parameters, how to use the script, and then obviously you can change any of the code and resave this as you want. So you could effectively create a copy of this, and then you could tweak the settings to give you a slightly different output. So that's the curve extraction. Now the other one, this is the one that I find most impressive, just in terms of the sheer speed, is when you've got overhead lines like this on this data set. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to navigate over to here a little bit so you can see, and I'm going to use the electric line extraction. Now the electric line extraction is slightly different because it doesn't actually require you to pick anything other than the point cloud. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick the point cloud. It says, there you go. So the point cloud is picked. Okay, there you go. There's the point cloud is picked, and then that is the extraction done. I've not even really touched anything, and there you go. There is your red line. So if I just close this down, and if I turn off the point cloud, that is the extent of that line that has just been created automatically using the script. So you can see it's incredibly fast. It's gone all the way down to this end, and then we would just repeat that on the other parts of the data set where we want to extract that data. So for me, I think we're at the beginning of the journey in terms of scripting. I think there's so much more. Cloud, what's your view on that, Klaus, in terms of the scripting side of things?
I think scripting is just a part of it too. Also, every single tool which we see in a tool in all our toolbars is a script basically.
Yeah.
So now we just have an addition to it to make things more repetitive but more automated.
Yeah, I mean, I see like where you've done the analysis of that building and you've done one level is almost writing a script so that it just does floor 1 through 10. How tall is your building? 20 stories. What do you want to achieve? X, Y, Z. Boom. And here's the report on the back. I just see it getting to that point of automation where people are doing repeatable surveys and producing an end result. So that's
exactly it.
Yeah, and well, so the questions still remain for some people. You know, how do we create these scripts? You know, by all means, if there's a consultancy angle there from our side that we need to address, then that's something we can discuss. But at the end of the day, you know, there are people out there that know this language, and certainly Klaus has put our customers in touch with JavaScript programmers to help develop custom tools within Cyclone 3DR. But a really, really powerful little tool. So that was our one more thing. So I hope you enjoyed our scripting and survey tools. Now this is one more thing. This is your project, Klaus. So I'll let you talk about that. It's not Klaus. That is Martin Harrington from the UK. Looks after Region South. So Klaus, over to you for this.
Exactly. So what we want to do here is just testing, challenging the BLK to go in a different environment here. Tree survey. So at the end of it, we want to get a tree survey out of it. How to do it? We need to get every single trunk of each individual tree, and here we just separate our point cloud, use a digital terrain model, use the best fit circle to each trunk, and send it to AutoCAD. But now, okay, we optimize our workflow in how do we get already all the circles out of it. Now we have a little script to actually also say we want to have every single radius for the trunk automatically with it. And here we see the end product of it then. So it's basically more than half of the work done to create a tree survey.
So from that point of view, you've seen BLK to go data in quite a challenging environment, and you thought,
exactly.
And I saw a similar example with this that was done with terrestrial scan data, but it was a graveyard. So they were extracting out the center point of each grave and then pushing that to a GIS platform. But again, using scripting.
It's a similar way, it just applied in a different environment.
Yeah. So that, I mean, you've seen there, it's BLK to go data, which is exciting in itself for that environment. But you've used scripting, you've used extraction, you've used a very simple method straight out into a CAD platform.